What is going on, everybody? It is Ahmed, and I am back today with yet another video for you on. Today, guys, we're going to be actually talking a very interesting setup with HIMS and HERS stock, or the ticker symbol HIMS. There was an announcement that was made right after market close on Friday that caused the price of the stock to surge 39.77% to $22 after hours. And with that, I do believe we have a pretty strong setup for the open next week on Monday, but also throughout the week, as the announcement has been made that there's no longer going to be a feud with Novo Nordisk, a stock that I've been covering heavily on this channel, but also they're going to be partnering with them in manufacturing obesity-based medications. Now, remember, as always, never financial advice, just trying to put you guys on the plays that I'm in. If you're new around here, smash the like button and also consider subscribing to the channel. You guys know the spiel. I am a licensed pharmacist and I've been very interested in pharmaceutical stocks. And when I see interesting setups that might cause certain equities to do really well, especially within the pharmaceutical industry, I like to cover them. And HIMS and HERS has been one that I kind of had on my watch list for quite some time, but I saw it's been kind of on a very strong run, followed by a pretty significant dump here in the Q3, Q4 2025 and into 2026. Now, with the change that is happening and how strong and how much short interest there is in this stock, I do think the upside potential is very, very massive. And we're potentially talking a short squeeze with the current short interest. So let's go ahead and dive in and talk about why it's up 40% and why I think it could rally a lot higher next week. Maybe even, do I dare say, an all-time high type rally? Let's go ahead and dive in. So first and foremost, HIMS and HERS stock, ticker symbol HIMS, surges after Novo Nordisk Wegovy partnership news. If you see here, just quick TLDR, Novo Nordisk and HIMS and HERS plan to announce a new partnership as soon as Monday to sell obesity drugs together. After that, they were basically saying, hey, they're taking our intellectual property and our FDA approved drugs, making generics of those medications, especially GLP-1s, and more recently, the oral Wegovy form. With that being said, they threatened to sue them and started a lawsuit against HIMS. Well, things quickly changed with this announcement, as instead of suing, now they're going to be partnering directly with HIMS. So HIMS surged 39% in after hours trading on the news. The deal ends a legal dispute, including a patent infringement lawsuit filed by Novo Nordisk last month. Novo previously terminated an earlier agreement with HIMS over marketing tactics and compound drug sales, because that's what HIMS does, which is also common practice within the pharmaceutical industry. You find something that has already completed all the clinical trials, FDA approval, and then you can either add something in addition to its label or change excipients, which are basically the things that are not important for the actual drug delivery or the medication itself and how it's utilized. Make small changes to that, get easier approval to roll out into the market via a generic, and again, turn a pretty quick profit. The FDA has also threatened action against HIMS over the $49 compounded semaglutide copy. So Twitter and everyone has been absolutely excited about the announcement. Novo Nordisk and HIMS to announce partnership on Monday. The official news hasn't hit yet, but right now we just know that there is going to be a partnership-based announcement starting on Monday. This amazing news for HIMS shareholders. And again, if you just look up HIMS stock news on Twitter, you will see it's just absolutely insane. HIMS jumps 35% after hours with 500,000 impressions over on X. HIMS up 40% after hours on this news. Can it go back to $30 in the next few months? And that's the thing. A lot of people ended up buying the top because euphoria always attracts retail investors. And if we look here, basically Q2 2025, we surged all the way to $64, $65 and has since dropped more than 80% from all-time highs. But here's why I think this setup is interesting. This is from fintel.io. This is a place where you can look at short interest, short squeeze potential, and borrow rates via stocks that are traded on the New York Stock Exchange or public market. So right now, if you look at the basic statistics of HIMS stock, the short interest is 81 million shares that are currently in float under short interest, meaning by institutions and others. Off exchange short volume is at 2.978 million shares. And this is off exchange for dark pool volume. This is from FINRA. The short interest ratio is 4 days to cover, with short interest percent or float at 38.94%. A lot of people were shorting the stock because of the lawsuit from Novo Nordisk, everything else that was happening from their financials, their quarterly earnings. So many reasons as to why people became extremely bearish. But this announcement, coupled with the amount of short interest that is currently on HIM stock, could make for a very, very strong setup early next week into maybe the entire week. And with that, I'm going to be approaching it with a lot of caution, because you have to make sure you're not going to be too caught up in what could end up becoming something that doesn't work out because of what's happening from a global geopolitical perspective. The stock market is currently under a little bit of a retracement. But remember, in 2021, what happened with GME and AMC and all these others, retail investors fell in love with the narrative and they pushed it to numbers that made absolutely no sense from a valuation perspective. And we're not here to talk about valuation. We're here to talk about what the short interest looks like and where it could go. So right now, if we look at shorts available and you're looking at all these different things, there's even with the 40% uptick, we're seeing there's intraday more and more shorts that are being lined up right now. HIM shorts available. People are going to be picking up shorts thinking they can double down on the short positions. And that's what could potentially cause a squeeze if the price keeps going up, as people will have 4 days to cover their shorts. So let's see what happens. But I think, again, guys, the setup that we have here is pretty interesting. We haven't seen something like this probably since Beyond Me. And that was earlier in 2026, end of 2025, when it did squeeze a bit, but it didn't have a full-on short squeeze. But we'll see what retail has to offer. I'm going to be watching a lot of the social sentiment, especially on Reddit, looking at the Reddit threads, the Wall Street bets, what's happening over on X or Twitter. And then we'll see if the announcement is strong enough to actually push this thing forward. So we'll see where we go. But again, right now, things are looking pretty dang good. I'm overall happy with how HIMS is performing, but we'll see if we can continue the momentum into next week. I appreciate your support as always, guys. That's all I had for you today. And until next time, as always, everybody, keep investing. Peace.